not buy you happiness, but it sure upgrades the suffering. No? Money, so long as you're not paying my bills, you don't get to have an opinion about money. Even after you pay my bills, I lead my life. Being agentic is non-negotiable. Live your life, let live. Don't let people's opinions sit rent-free in your heads. You are given away the control of your mind to them. It does cost you a little bit of your femininity. Nobody talks about that. My WhatsApp status, Sangeeta, is own it, embrace it, and run with it. So wear that damn crown already and lighten the path for the people who are waiting to follow you. And the best compliment that you can hope to achieve is at the end of it all, oh, she thinks like a man.
So a woman who writes is a satisfied soul because she gets to kill off all her enemies in her stories.
Hi, Anupama, and welcome to the AboutHer Show, a show where we get trailblazing women to share the story of their lives with us. You know, their ups and downs, challenges, struggles, all of it, the highs and lows. And this helps, them to not only showcase themselves, but it also helps us because it helps us inspire other women with dreams and ambitions, but somewhere lacking that push, something, which just holds them back. So we want them to listen to your story and get inspired. And then, of course, we get men on the show, men who champion such trailblazing women, because we believe that for a truly gender-inclusive world, men and women need to be allies in this journey. Now, I've known you for a while, and I have seen the kind of work that you've been doing with your books, your blogging, and your SeniorSchoolMoms, network. It is so impactful because you are touching people's lives in different ways, helping them deal with issues, solve problems. So, I think that's the kind of impact which, if we can, we should make. And we would definitely like to know more about this. So, once again, a very, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much, Sangeeta. Truly, it's an honor to be here, to talk to you, to talk about myself. It's a very wonderful experience, and I'm waiting very eagerly to, share my thoughts with you on this wonderful platform.
Well, we are waiting to hear you. All right, so here goes. So, as I know, you write for children, you write for adults across, fiction and philosophy. So tell me, when you sit down to write, who are you writing for first, the reader or yourself?
It always starts is a very interesting and very important question to start the proceedings and, so to say, this to set the ball rolling. It always starts with my getting very restless, shaken or stirred, pun completely unintended, with the events around. It's like, there is something happens that's physically, I'm extremely restless till those buzzing thoughts in the head are put on in a cogent fashion, when there is that simmering thoughts take a concrete shape. So once I blurt out whatever is going in my head into a concrete piece, then I wonder whether I can get resonance if I share it across to the world. At that point, I share with the world, and it's always a happy feeling inside that when it finds resonance, when it gets traction, that I've been able to express what many of us are feeling. So it is always I'm writing for myself, and the icing on the cake is if it finds echo in other hearts.
I'm sure it does because, like I also write, and like you said, the thoughts that you get. The thoughts that you get are based on experiences around you, people around you. So, somewhere, by talking about something which is around you, you are, relating to people. So, obviously, it resonates, and obviously, that is why they love it so much. Yeah.
Because no man is an island.
Yes.
Ultimately, we are all there together.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so, yeah.
All right. So coming to your column, AJ wants to know. So this is, run for years. So tell me, what does a long running column give a writer that a book never can?
Very, very interesting question again. So let me put it this way. The AG Wants to Know has won me 2 major awards in humor.
Okay.
And humor, as you know, is a very difficult beast to write these days, especially when people's sensibilities are getting offended at the drop of a hat.
True.
So it has been a very tricky column to write. It started off. It is still. It's a column that examines the quirkiness in the world around. And trust me, there are enough quirks around the world.
Yeah.
And it is something that the visibility is immediate, the feedback is immediate, whether it's brickbats or bouquets, the traction is immediate. Because we are but the pitfall is it becomes dated very soon, because I'm examining the current events and I am expressing them in a satirical fashion, which itself is a difficult task. So the traction is immediate, the feedback is immediate, but then it has the pitfall of being dated very soon. I can say a book is like, I can say like an ITC dal makhni that takes 24 hours to, brew. You have to season it with delicacy, with absolute care, and you have to flavor it with various condiments and make sure every condiment is added in that apt proportion, not anything more. And then the column is like, I can say, instant noodles, like 2-minute noodles. You can have it basi noodles anyway. It's the same. Plus, the column was for free, whereas books, the people have to invest time and money. Column gives you instant euphoria and some sort of, it elevates you, whereas a book is a serious business. It builds a long-term credibility for you. And in my case, because I have written about the entire spectrum, be for adults and children, so I would say writing a book is difficult, but writing a column is no less a difficult task, especially these days, because you have to write everything in 500 words. And if 500 people are reading, that's a big thing. I think now we have to call it 350 words, perhaps.
True. But then I think doing both somehow just makes you a more complete person, because like you say, it's a mix of instant noodles and dal makhani. So you need both of them, to make a holistic menu. So which is what you're doing, right? So I think that's beautiful.
For those, small hunger cravings, you need that on a wintry night, warm bowl of hot noodles, and for soul, craving, to soothe the soul craving, a dal makhani.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So Anupama, you've been listed among the top Indian women bloggers every feminist must follow. Interesting. So tell me, does the feminist label feel like a lot for you, or is it a bit complicated?
Perhaps I was a rebel without a pause earlier, maybe 10 years earlier, but as the children grow up, as your value systems keep changing, the label of being a feminist kind of sits uneasy now, because every second day your perspectives are changing, your thought processes are changing. Take, for instance, the two things that have really shaken the nation. One has shaken the ex community more than anything. It hasn't really shattered the Indian community. Or the one I'm talking about is the unfortunate death of a young woman called Twisha. And the second one is Aishwarya Rai's presence in Cannes Festival. Everybody got their chuddies under a twist, because she decided to show up in all her glory as a 50-year-old would look. She didn't. People said, why are those mutton rolls showing, and why can't she has so much at her disposal? Why didn't she go under the knife, or why didn't she choose SMP? It's her life.
Absolutely.
Take a break. So coming back to the question, one thing has remained constant, that being agentic is non-negotiable. Live
Right.
your life, let live. And I always tell my daughter, you learn to be as strong, as capable of saying, so long as you're not paying my bills, you don't get to have an opinion about me. Even after you pay my bills, I lead my life the way.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
being agentic is non-negotiable. The rest, keep changing, keep evolving with the circumstances around you, but let people be.
Yeah.
That's all I can
That
say.
is so essential. And I think that is something we really need to learn. I think we as a society just love poking our noses into other people's affairs. We have an opinion about everything because
Everything.
everything. We seem to think that we know everything about everything. Well, that's not true. And the sooner we learn to accept it, the better it would be for everyone. Right?
Like, for instance, going back to the same example, it was an unfortunate death, but the slander of both the parties, be the
Yes.
parents or the in-law, the mother-in-law, the trial by media is complete, literally.
Yeah.
And even the trial of Aishwarya Rai versus Alia versus her daughter. I mean, I know negativity sells, but we've got to leave them to
Yeah.
handle their own bodies. You don't get to judge them.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. Okay, so moving on, Anupama,
Mhm.
if a woman in her 30s came to you, brilliant, but still waiting for permission to call herself a writer, a leader, an expert, or whatever, what is the one thing you would say to her?
Wow. Okay, my WhatsApp status, Sangeeta, is own it, embrace it, and run with it. I, uh, I, this was something that came to me when my first book got released, when Padma Paula,
Okay.
and I decided, and I never, it's still on the same status. It's been now almost close to 8 years. I haven't changed it because it just, in 6 words, it makes so much sense about what you should be owning a. And I would tell this young lady, this: own it, embrace it, and run with it. And don't be so guilty about your multi hyphens, because you've slogged hell of a lot. You have put in the midnight oil, you've burned the midnight oil to gather all those. And it's a privilege to be in that situation. It's very, very difficult to get all those labels to fructify. So wear that damn crown already and light up the path for the people who are waiting to follow you. And the half the battle is won when you are comfortable in your skin
Yeah.
and wait, rather than wait for others' permission to let you be. But I guess it is a lifelong endeavor to understand that letting go of that conditioning where we are told to adjust, to stay away from the limelight because it is very unwomanlike. Just own it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
work very hard for it.
Absolutely. I think it's so important. Every girl, every woman should know this. You can own it. You should own it because, like you,
And
you've worked your way up there. So,
yeah, and why should you be apologetic about your
yeah,
success? You work very, very hard.
right.
So just own it like your second skin.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
True. I completely agree. So, on a different note, I mean, your children's books, they are taught in schools, and as I know, they sit in Canadian libraries. So, my question is, what do you believe a story can give a young reader that a lesson plan simply cannot?
That's a beautiful question once again. So,
Thank you.
I work as a creative writing teacher in one of the leading schools, and I have observed that I start off the session with this very simple story that we have learned all our lives: the rabbit and the tortoise story.
Okay.
So I leave it at that point, at the winning line. When the tortoise is about to cross the winning line and the rabbit has woken up, it is sprinting. And I stop at that.
Okay.
And I ask the children to derive their own endings.
Okay.
And each year it's a revelation, because the children come up with such wonderful endings, which are not the usual run of the mill, where we are taught. Okay, the tortoise won. The rabbit said, "Okay, I've learned my lesson. Slow and steady wins the race." This is they are taught to learn only in a tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Just strip them off the tunnel and then make them understand. The verdict they come up with is fantastic. I sincerely believe that stories are like samplings of imagination that are planted in the fertile soil of imagination for children. So let those saplings grow in the way they want. And when we give a lesson plan, it is a very structured way of learning, right? They are okay. This is the key that you will learn. This is the key takeaway. So this is the story. Just strip them off those straightforward jacketed learning, and they are very, very innovative in this thing. So I leave it to them to discover their own meaning, because stories leave you with an emotional memory.
Yeah.
And it also bypasses the resistance, because bullying is a big thing. So to teach against bullying, this is the story that I teach. But if it start off with a line that bullying is bad, that won't make such a connect. But let them arrive at this conclusion with this story. It makes a more lasting impression.
I totally agree. Children have such fertile minds, fertile imagination. Why do we need to kind of, just channelize them or make them just think in a particular way? Let them do it. Let them think. They've got minds. Why not let them explore, come up with different things? And that is how their creativity will get expressed. Because when we, it's like you're putting a lid on that creativity by giving them the conclusions or the plans or the rules. Just let them be. I think that's very important.
This like a straight-jacketed learning. Digressing a little bit here, I also work as a national level mentor for Katha Utsav stories.
Okay.
So Katha is a very famous storytelling lab organization. They make books also. So they have what are called Katha learning labs, where underprivileged children are till grade 8 are taught science, physics. Be with physics, chemistry, biology, social studies. Everything is just a story. They discover things through stories. I think it's very innovative way of learning.
Absolutely. Okay. So moving on to another, what should I say, outfit, another thing that you do, which is your senior school moms. Now, I've been a part of it as well. I may as well tell you. So now this...
Really? I never knew this.
Yeah, I'm there very much. I've been there for a very long time.
Oh my God. It's a 10K strong now. So
Yeah. And very useful, very helpful. I've, kind of taken a lot of, how should I say, guidance from it over the years. As I understand, it started as a community and then it became something much larger. So tell me, what needs were you responding to when you built it? And what did you learn about women's invisible caregiving load?
So it all started with my son's JEE rank. Okay. So we didn't know what to do with it. What would be the best possible way to go ahead? But luckily, we had enough experts in the family who could help us and who helped us arrive at the right decision. That is a rarity. Not everybody has that luxury of somebody helping you out make the correct choice.
Correct.
So one of the Gurgaon Moms community leaders had come up to me and said we should do something in the education field. Okay. So I was anyway toying up with opening a community like this. But what she had in mind was something entirely different. And I feel there should be a safe space where moms can come together and see, they are the ones who nurtured the child. They are the ones who carried the child in the womb for 9 months. And then there is that invisible caregiving load perpetually on her back. No matter what we say, that even if they're working, that at the background, the process about the child is always working. So I thought there should be a community where a mom can come and find the solution to her problems. We don't just discuss academics, you know that. We also talk about emotional issues and various other issues. And I also wanted to make it as a non-commercial place because and a lot of people, I mean, trust me, enough number of people have looked at me with quizzical eyes and, you're the admin, sole admin, moderator, you've been doing it for 10 years. You don't take any paisa out of it. And they look at me as if actually lost over this thing, but not everything is for money, right?
Oh,
And and also Facebook pages were just taking off then. So it took a lot of effort to build it up. I was even invited as the admin to the Facebook office in Gurgaon twice because of the community spirit that we exhibit. And I sincerely believe if like-minded moms come together, we can do wonders. And this community is a shining example of how dedicated mom. There are so many moms, like Shafali Saxena. She has answer for everything. There is one very wonderful lady called Seema Tiwari Goswami. Any circular that is come out by any college, she will be the first one to share in the group. So there are so many of them. There is Shalini Bansal. She gives all the answers for art, various design schools. There are moms who have talked about their visits to various countries, and there in COVID time, there were moms who have taken people who have gone from here, and they were stranded. There was one friend of mine, my childhood friend in Singapore. So there was one mom whose child was stranded in Singapore, and I just reached out to her because she was a senior school mommy. They were there with her through the day, make sure she arrived at the hospital. There's so many such stories. So eventually, it is that community feeling is what matters.
It does. It does. And actually, sometimes you just need that anchor. If somebody just, does that initial work of getting people together, then there is so much that we can do for each other. And like you said, mothers play such an integral role. So why not, kind of help and
Yes.
assist them in that process?
So we did have a poll because lots of moms said we have to see or show the screenshots to our husbands. They also want to be part. So I ran polls twice or thrice. It was immediately thrashed. The idea was that this is our space. We are not letting any men here.
Absolutely.
So they decided, yeah.
Yeah. So moving to your book now. So you chose to reinterpret the Gita through story and dialogue rather than commentary or scholarship. So tell me, what made you trust that approach, especially knowing how fiercely people guard this text?
Oh, yes. So, it all started in Feb 25, my Feb 2025. My publisher calls up randomly one evening, and then he says, without any, no social these things, he's straight to the point. Do you want to interpret the Gita? It's as simple as that. Do you want to write about the Gita? I'm like, with my typical bravado, I said yes, not understanding. I'm trying to pour out the entire Pacific Ocean into a small mug. Because it was like, okay, let's see how hard is it, to do it. Only after I put the phone down, I realized, my goodness, what have I walked into? So and then I was still working. I'm still working as the creator. So the school schedule is very this thing. We don't get holidays till May end, and we have about 7 weeks. So I had to finish all my reading. There are 700 shlokas.
Right.
The 700 shlokas I reread about 3-4 times, and then I read various versions. Then I realized, there are lakhs of interpretations all around because it's the holy book. Even the Prime Minister takes his oath holding this book. So I have to be extremely careful here. Not one wrong step is possible. But the most interesting thing is this most profound philosophy takes place in the pitch battlefield, in the middle of a battlefield, where literally all the men of Bharat had gathered together to kill each other.
Right.
The contradiction is enormous.
Hmm.
And the Bhagavad Gita is already part of a great epic called the Mahabharata, in part of the Bhishma Parva. So keeping it as a format made more sense, because I had noticed that there were very few interpretations like that, like, keeping it in a lyrical story format way. So plus the confusion of Arjuna, confusion where because of his confusion, vulnerability was mainstream.
Yeah.
So so it starts with vulnerability, confusion, trying to understand, seeking clarity. Once clarity is achieved, action, and then surrender. So it is the typical Freytag pyramid format. Freytag pyramid is as you know, is the template to write a proper story. The 5 this thing. So I said it makes more sense for me to keep it in the story format. Plus, the teacher in me had to sip in somewhere.
Yeah.
So at the end of every chapter, I have found instances of world literature that agrees with the ethos. Plus, I added implementable life hacks at the end of each chapter. So I guess I felt story rendering makes it more, accessible than something which is like, okay, this is Gita, I have to have it in my shelf. But it is too esoteric for me, so let me not go there. So I wanted it to be accessible, and story format is any day easier. So I thought that canvas worked better for me.
And I think, it becomes more relatable. People can understand, which is the whole point.
Yes.
I mean, having it in your bookshelf without understanding what it says or why it says, that's of no use. So you have brought it down to a state, a level, so to say, where people can understand. And that's the whole point. You see, you derive the maximum use out of it when you know what it is talking about, right?
And that's why a hell of a lot of work also underwent into the, making the cover also.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Not easy. Okay, so you were talking about world literature. So my next question is related to that. So now, the Gita, we know it speaks to Arjun at his most paralyzed moment. So tell me, which character from world literature did you find most unexpectedly echoed that paralysis? I mean, when you were drawing these parallels.
This came without a second thought, because it's an interesting job profile and arc I have built up. I also have had the privilege of teaching Shakespeare, multiple works of his. So Hamlet was the first choice right away, to be or not to be.
Yeah.
So I would say Arjun's conflict was also that, to be or not to be, to wage the war or not to wage. Take my Kshatriya dharma and wage war and kill my kith and kin for an ephemeral victory and taking care of my throne, or do I just give up all the palace pleasures and walk away? So Hamlet also had the same this thing: do I avenge my father's death and kill all the near people? What about the moral dilemma of it? Killing another human being. So I feel Hamlet was the perfect fit for the first chapter for Dilemma of Arjun. Arjun was the first Hamlet. I think Hamlet just followed in Arjuna's footsteps, I guess.
Yes. So that is actually, now that you say it, it is so true. Because
yes,
are like so very similar. I mean, I think I never kind of made the connection, but now that you say it, yeah, it is so true. Both of them were faced with a similar situation.
There was another, there are so many instances, like for instance, after Vishwarupa Darshana, that is chapter 11, Krishna says, whenever there is something beautiful or something graceful or something very bhavya, think that it is an instance of me. Now, how many of us have grown up listening to this poem, a thing of beauty is joy forever?
Yes.
So I thought that is an apt fit, because
Yeah.
he gives various instances, like, a child's smile, or, the sweet smelling fragrance story, or the tales of bravery of all the dead martyrs. Everything is so uplifting. It's like that Amrit Dhara from the heaven.
Yeah.
Or then there was this story of Santiago, alchemist,
Hmm.
who then, like, Arjuna's chariot was the bed where he received all the gyan.
Hmm.
And the sycamore tree in The Alchemist is the place where Santiago finds his treasure ultimately.
Correct.
So the correlation is so much. And there is also another instance is of a person called Viktor Frankl. He
Hmm.
is an Austrian
Yeah. Yeah.
and then this thing was logotherapy. He says, I'm not going to give the control of my mind to the Nazis. The moment I give away, I have given away everything.
Yes.
So this is again another instance. I said, don't let people's opinions sit rent free in your heads. You are given away the control of your mind to them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
That is so important to understand.
yeah, yeah.
So, Anupama, this book is featured in the Fricky Bologna Rights catalog, as I understand, which means it is being positioned for global readership. Now, my question is, how do you write ancient Indian philosophy for someone who has never encountered it before without flattening it?
Uh, First of all, without reading all the 700 shlokas, one should not even attempt even a single word. So I had to read it. I would have read it at least 5 times before I even wrote one word. The multiple readings immediately makes you very reverential.
Yeah.
And one of the very oft held misconception is that it's a very religious book. Not at all. It's one of the most spiritual. It is, I can say, it's a life text to make yourself better by following the framework that is established. It is a perfect template for your school. Everybody is busy sculpting their figures. I
Hmm.
think this is a soul sculpt help book, I
Wow.
would call that. You
Wow.
know,
Wonderful.
so there was no question of flattening the grandeur, but I had to try and make it accessible. So
Hmm.
that's where immediately the planning of the canvas, the first canvas, is making instances of world literature in conversation with each chapter's ethos was important. So anybody could understand. Like, for instance, if I say Hamlet, immediately people will understand. A person who has grown up reading Western philosophy, whether it is Alchemist or the simple thing like Hamlet, it's very immediately understandable the pathos of Arjuna.
Right.
So after that, I've also given implementable life hacks. Now, anger, love, heartbreak, ambition, all these are universal emotions.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not, so when you have implementable life hacks associated with each chapter, it again becomes very easy to, interpret and easy to understand and say, yes, this makes sense.
Right.
Plus, at the end, I also have a two-line modern interpretation, so to speak, of each chapter.
Okay.
So, in about 36 sentences, I have the modern thinking of
Yeah.
what Gita makes. So, I guess that's why it is these emotions, because they are universal, the
Yeah.
stories are universal, it becomes accessible, but without losing any iota of its grandeur.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That's so important. You keep the basic ethos of it alive,
Yes,
but
yes.
you kind of emphasize upon what is universally applicable, the feelings, emotions, which everyone will be able to relate to.
Yes,
Because,
yes,
like as you said,
yes,
emotions are universal, so people can understand. So that, of course, keeps it alive. Okay. So, Anupama, apart from all these things that you're doing, you also co-founded right? Another dimension, of your
Yeah.
personality.
That was the first one, I guess. That's the first entry into the craziness. Yeah.
So tell me, most accounts of entrepreneurship, they erase the female founder's internal experience. Okay. So tell me, what did founding something like this, or, founding as such, teach you about your own leadership edge, and what did it cost you?
What a wonderful question, Sangeeta.
Thank you so much.
They've been fantastic questions, really.
Thanks.
One of the most unspoken and unaddressed truth is it does cost you a little bit of your femininity. Nobody talks about that. And the recent movie on Netflix, Ladies First, as it is spoken in that movie, they say you can't be too frumpy because then you'll be dismissed straight away.
Yeah.
You can't be too pretty because then you won't be taken too seriously. You have to be that, you have to be in that exact middle spot where you're slightly pretty, not so frumpy, to be taken seriously, a wee bit seriously perhaps. And then you have got to be damn good at your job.
Oh, yes.
And the best compliment that you can hope to achieve is at the end of it all, oh, she thinks like a man.
Wow, yes.
And see, it wasn't easy to lead a team of animators that were all men. And because I was playing a major part in a startup that was my husband's startup. So most often I was the millennia to be indulged, a la Trump, like, let us listen to the boss's wife, and she'll be gone, and then we can do whatever we want. But by and by, slowly, after many heartbreaks, I learned to be a little assertive without losing my voice, because that was imperative.
Yeah.
But it's not an easy job. It's not an easy job.
No, it's not. It's not. It's very difficult. And like you said, you are trying to fit in somewhere, which so far has been a man's world. So it's difficult. But what I love about us women is that we don't give up. We haven't given up, and we continue to do what we want to do. Of course, there are bottlenecks, there are challenges, there are so many things happening around us which make us question. But I think the answer to all this is that you just stay the course, just go on doing what you want to do.
Because at the end of the day, you want to sleep easy. You don't want to go to bed feeling uneasy. Yes, that you let someone walk all over you. That's not a happy feeling at all.
Not at all. All right. So talking about all the various things that you have done. So writing, speaking, consulting, community building. Now, these are rarely the paths anyone would call financially safe, right? So at what point did you stop apologizing for the unconventional portfolio and start owning it?
Wow. You see, money might not give you happiness. Money might not buy you happiness, but it sure upgrades the suffering. So,
Yes.
yeah. So again, there was a little kid. Every day in the school they write quotes. So I said, okay, I want you to say a quote on happiness. So the girl said, "Ma'am, money cannot buy you happiness." And before I could control myself, I said, "No, honey, money may not buy you happiness, but it sure upgrades the suffering." The poor kid had no idea what I was saying. She said, "What is this ma'am saying?" I said, "Okay, let me not spoil her innocence right away. It is her truth. She will arrive someday." So these things, so I have to pay for my fancy bruschetta, right? So I work as a mentor. That pays me quite okay. Then I work as a creative writing consultant. So these are the ways I pay my own bills. But the rest of the things are the ones that I do for my Nirmalan and for my soul enrichment. That you have to give something back to the society that has been so kind to you. He
Yeah.
has indulged you so much and given you so much of happiness. So these are the ones that there's not. I mean, writing, writers, they have to have a day job, other no money
Oh, yes.
in it at all.
I
And
completely agree.
senior school moms, as you know, is a no pay zone. So you do all this so that there is some soul enrichment somewhere and some sort of happiness that you've done something at the end of the day and you can get to sleep easy.
I so
So
agree with you. Of course, you've got to have a job which pays the bills because money is required for all that. That's
yes,
the reality
yeah.
of life. But then all these little things, I mean, I can so relate to you because I also have another job. I mean, I teach at the Delhi University. So all those things, that pays for all these things because, and I want to do these because they fulfill my soul. They speak
Yes.
to me. I want to be able to give back in whichever way I can. So yes, it has to be a mix of both, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me your Padma series. It
Oh.
features a woman navigating identity, marriage, and reinvention. So, my question is, how much of Padma's negotiation with her own life choices was yours to give her?
So I have to tell you a few things here.
Okay.
The Padma book was, I don't know if this came out of a 300-word short story of one single character going in a lift.
Hmm.
I had written this short story as a humor competition entry.
Okay.
It didn't win it won the last prize or something, the third or fourth prize. But my publisher liked it so much, he said, why don't you pull out a novel out of it? Now,
Okay.
imagine that is like you have a core of an onion and you're building the layers.
Yeah.
How do you do it? It was just one woman, Padma Lakshmi, she was going in lift for 2 minutes. I
Hmm.
had no idea what her backstory was, who all were there in her life, what happened to her, why was she like this, no idea. So
Hmm.
it was like pulling a rabbit out of a hat. So that was the first rabbit that was pulled out of it.
Yes, I've
Then,
read it. I know.
yeah, that was not only one, I managed to pull two rabbits.
Yes, yes,
Then
yes.
my father and my son, in all their love for me, they sold it to people within their immediate social this thing that it is my mother's
So
Atmakatha.
sweet.
My God, it was never the story. I told them, I don't need enemies with relatives like you. I would say Paula is far more wackier than me.
Hmm.
And I am a one man woman, unlike her, but she has reasons for doing what
Yeah,
she does.
yeah.
And Padma, in the second one, she is Padma, not
Hmm.
because she's shed the Paula title.
Yeah.
She's way more darker than me. And I wouldn't be making such crazy decisions. But I think these we writers explore such characters because it gives us leeway to explore an inner wild child,
Yes.
so to speak, giving wings to our inner wild child. But we both are similar in one aspect, that we both are phoenixes, that we've fallen often, we've gotten up, we've dusted ourselves, and we walked again. Never give up souls.
Yeah.
In that way we are similar, but the rest is just my inner craziness taking shape.
Oh, wonderful. One
Yeah,
should never give up. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, while we've come to the end of the conversation, we still have the rapid fire round, which is
Ooh,
5 quick questions, 5 quick answers. Are you ready for it?
yes.
Yes. So, whatever comes to your head the moment the question is out. Okay.
I'll try.
All right.
Is it a goodie hamper at the end?
Yes. It's just outside your door. Check it out once we're done. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. The first one. The one word you overuse in your own writing.
This too shall pass. That teacher, this thing, I have to give the constant gyan. That
Yeah.
I think I suffer from an invisible halo over my head. I think so. I'm always pontificating. This too shall pass. Keep calm. I think these days the one word that I one expression I keep flaunting is just breathe, yeah. Just breathe. So
All right.
that helps.
Okay. The next one. Arjun or Krishna? Who would you rather have dinner with?
Krishna, any day.
All
Any day.
right. The next one. The piece of advice you were given that you completely ignored and were right to do that.
Be a little more lesser version of yourself. No, I'm not going to be.
Great. You should not be.
Because it was, I think growing up, I think I was quite a handful for my parents. So, I think now they're begin to, after a lifetime of bearing me, they've come to finally, they've told themselves, "Abhi kuch nahi ho sakta."
This is the way she is going to be.
We have to now get used to her. No
Yeah.
chance of anything else.
Okay. The next one. Padma from your novels or AJ, the real person? Who has more fun?
I think Paula had lots of fun.
Okay. All right.
Lots of fun. She has far more fun than most all of us put together.
Yeah. Yeah. And finally, finish this sentence. A woman who writes is a woman who ...
I mean, I'm just being a little nasty because here I just won an award in an All India Crime Literature
Wow.
Festival.
Congratulations.
So a woman who writes is a satisfied soul because she gets to kill off all her enemies in her stories.
Much needed. I think now you will suddenly have, so many writers around us because everybody will feel, okay, I can do this, right?
Revenge is the best dish served in your stories.
Absolutely. It is again one of those, how should I say, fulfilling things. Just
Yes.
fulfill your soul because you've done what you wanted to do.
As a writer, our chetavani to all, don't get in my bad books. Don't be nasty to me.
Mess with me.
Kill off in the next story. Yeah.
True. So on this note, Anupama, thank you so much. What an absolute delight of a conversation. I just enjoyed every bit of it. Your sense of humor, your practicality, your wanting to give back. You are like, how should I say, an all-inclusive package, which has a bit of everything. And, in that way, you're not only giving to yourself, but you're giving back to the world, to the society. And I think that makes for a happier you and a happier us. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me over. I had a wonderful time. I didn't realize that, oh wow, 15 minutes have passed by. They've just flown by, and I've had great amount of fun. Thank you very much for having me over. It's an honor. It's an honor
being here. Thank you for tuning in to the About Her show. If you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more from where that came from. Our previous guests have shared some amazing stories, so be sure to catch up on past episodes. To keep up with our inspiring conversations and to never miss an update, hit subscribe, rate, review, and share the love. Follow us on social media for some great content, and don't forget to check out our website www.aboutherbysangeeta.com for stories that resonate, inspire, and empower. Know a remarkable woman or an inspiring man blazing a trail? We'd love to hear from you. Drop us a note at web.abouther@gmail.com and let's bring their story to life on the About Her show.